Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Roar Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Rohr and Lara Sturm.
Welcome to episode 10. Welcome to my co-host, Lara Sturm, who finds her coaches by accident because her original one doesn't show up on time. Or ever.
Yeah, or ever. He just never showed up whatsoever. So I got stuck with you, Josh.
Shucks.
Oh, welcome to Josh Rohr, whose kryptonite is that he can't tell the difference between some colors. And if you ask him to grab your blue bench shirt and there happens to be a purple one, you get what you get.
That's not funny.
It actually is. It's
So
pretty funny.
I'm actually colorblind if people are wondering if I'm just stupid.
I'm really glad you did define that. You're just not
Yeah.
stupid, you're colorblind.
Yeah. So I think today we are going to talk about a few powerlifting myths. We can call ourselves the Powerlifting Mythbusters.
Very nice. Yeah, and I was really glad to see the notes on this because some of these are things that I really feel passionate about.
Yeah, and these were a lot of these topics where people on our team, we just kind of asked them for things that they hear and maybe their perceptions before they started. And there were some good ones here. So I guess the first one, the stigma of lifting weights is something that's not feminine and something that women don't do.
Yeah, and I think that's a real stigma. Or it was, at least when I started. I think it's becoming less of a concern. The more barbell has kind of been out there as a culture. I think CrossFit has kind of helped that. But it was a stigma I had because back in the day I did figure. I competed in, kind of prancing across the stage in a nice little tiny bathing suit that was glued to myself with tanning stuff and high heels, hoping I didn't fall down, right? So when I got to the point where I wanted to do a different sport, I didn't even consider powerlifting because there was a stigma in my mind of women lifting weights and adding too much muscle, and it wasn't something that I saw as feminine. And I was really, really surprised that when I finally gave powerlifting a try, I was like, wait, this isn't like that at all. Like my perception of what I thought powerlifting would be and what I thought women would look like on doing powerlifting was completely inaccurate. And I think that's something that as time goes by, the idea of women having muscle is less and less of something that society feels that is strange. But I also think that we as women need to also step out of what society thinks sometimes and kind of not really buy into that. It's women that step out of that kind of help move that along. I think
that's, obviously I'm not the person to speak on this so much, but that's, just off the top of my head, like, you hear, I don't want to get too much muscle or get too big. And my first thought is why? Why?
I've never thought that actually. And especially as women, like I've never seen a woman naturally get too big. Just have never seen it. I've never seen it. I've had people compliment me on my arms, but I've never been anyone like, wow, dude, you're too jacked. That's just never happened. I just don't think that's ever going to happen. I kind of embrace the idea I'd like to get too jacked, but yeah, right. Naturally, of course, but it's never going to happen. But I've gotten to a place too where I just don't really care what people think, and basing who I am on what people think just isn't where I want to be. So just kind of moving past that. On another note, so something happened to me that's a serious, huge pet peeve of mine that is a problem.
So
I think the medical community.
So we can call this, we have a series called Josh's Pet Peeves. We are starting a Lara's Pet Peeve.
Yeah, I don't have that many of them, but this is a serious pet peeve. I went to my doctor today just to get some, blood work because I have to do that, once in a while. And I was told that my BMI was too high and that I need to lose some weight. And that is a big pet peeve of mine because I'm a muscular person and my BMI does say that I'm obese. And
Yeah,
I
who
don't
cares
know.
what your body fat percentage is? How much you weigh
Right.
compared to how tall you are is all that matters.
Right. And, I think that's something that's kind of weird out in the medical community. And that doctors are still kind of telling people that, especially as a muscular person, that's going to happen, that your BMI is going to be too high. But telling a woman that they should lose weight,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
it really got me a little.
yeah, I think that's a big part of the problem. Like that's probably, again, I don't know, but that's probably where a lot of that stigma comes from. You probably have heard that like for who knows how long, doctors telling you need to lose weight. Well,
Yeah. I mean, there used to be some kind of formula that, every inch you are over 5 feet tall, you should be 5 pounds or something like that. So, I mean, according to that rule, I'd be grossly overweight. But having my own doctor tell me today that I'm obese,
yeah, that's frustrating.
I was really mad.
I'm mad for you.
I'm like, are you blind? Because I'm pretty sure I'm not,
Yeah.
is what I said to her.
Doesn't pass the eye test.
Yeah.
Or the
it was
common
really
sense
strange.
test.
Yeah. And, when I told her, no, I have more muscle than you might think I do. I'm not obese. I was a powerlifter, am a powerlifter. And, kind of moved past that. I just kind of played it off, and I didn't engage her too much with it, but that was a real pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
And then there's this a stigma of women getting too strong. No. I strongly disagree with that as well. Because I think physical strength translates into mental strength, and who doesn't need to be mentally stronger with anything?
I mean, I'm looking at these again, like, first of all, what are these? I mean, what is the definition of too strong? What is the definition of too muscular? Like, these are arbitrary things that you really can't even quantify. It's just something for people to complain about because they have nothing better to do.
Yeah, because people like
I'm
to
talking
sit
about society, not people that are
I
worried
agree.
about these stigmas.
Yeah.
All right. These are officially on my pet peeve now.
Well, and then we have the next one that says older women and smaller women can't power lift.
I think so. That one, I think, is, again, I'm speculating because I'm not a female and I haven't heard these things from other people. And I hope I've never portrayed these on anybody, but I think a lot of people just don't understand what powerlifting is. So what they think of in their mind when they hear the word powerlifter, they think of the bodybuilder up on stage posing, and a lot of the, clips that you see in magazines or things like that are bodybuilders that are jacked up on steroids. So that is the perception of what a powerlifter is, I think, in a lot of people's mind. And it's not. So like, we obviously weight class, I guess it's not obvious for some people that might be listening, there are weight classes in powerlifting where you have to weigh a certain weight or below to make your weight class. And the lowest weight class for women is 103 pounds. So literally, if you're over 103 pounds, you are in the next weight class up. So, it really has nothing to do with size at all. And in terms of age, I mean, a couple episodes ago, we talked about that lady in Ohio that I met that was doing her first meet, and she was 80 because somebody told her she couldn't do it. So, really anybody can do it, any age, any size, doesn't matter. That's the beauty of the sport to me, is literally anybody can do it. So,
Yeah. I did have an athlete that I was working with who was surprised that she was, 100 pounds springing wet, and I'm not sure how old she was, probably in her 60s. But she was like, really, I can do this too. And I'm like, well, obviously, yes, you could definitely do this. But you're right, it's not obvious to her. It's obvious to us because we've been doing it. And I think her thought was that she's going to have to lift 300 pounds or something. And I'm like, you don't have to lift anything. You do what you do. And as a smaller person, you're definitely going to lift less weight than a larger person, because that's just how it is. But you're only measured against, in competition, people of the same weight class and age as you are. So anyone can do it, and really anyone should do it.
Yeah, and that does come up a lot now that you mention that with, newer lifters that I'm coaching. They come in, might be a smaller female, and, she doesn't want to power lift because she knows she can't squat as much as, Alicia Webb squats. I'm like, well, first of all, Lee's been doing this for years. Like, she didn't just magically wake up and start squatting that much. She is a higher weight class. That's the other thing. Like, you're in a much lower weight class. Like, and then I start, I'm saying all these things. I'm like, wait a minute, don't even go there. Like, the whole point of this is to compare yourself to yourself right now. Like, so sometimes even as a coach, like these things I take for granted, I got to kind of reel in and frame them, I guess, accordingly. So people understand, I guess, what we're actually trying to do here.
Right. Absolutely. Which brings us to our next myth. You're going to get hurt.
Yeah. This one's one of my pet peeves, because yes, there are people that are going to get hurt, but there are people that are stupid and should not be doing what they're doing. And what I mean by that is people that don't have correct technique, people that are trying to, do stupid movements with a lot of weight that really are putting themselves at risk. So yeah, any sport is going to put you at a higher risk than sitting in a bubble on your couch, not moving. If you think of it like a car engine, like when you're lifting heavy or when you're playing football or when you're sprinting, like your engine is being revved at a pretty high RPM. Well, if you're going to blow a head gasket in your car, it's most likely when you're racing it, not when it's just idling. So it's the same concept, but the point is, like, powerlifting as a whole is actually really safe. Like, if you learn technique correctly, like the strength training itself actually really helps build tendons, ligaments, muscle mass, all of those things, which are protective. Like, they are going to help keep you healthy and safe. So I think, there's always, and I think a lot of it is probably YouTube. Like, anytime anything gross or freaky happens, it gets put on YouTube and goes viral, or Facebook or Instagram, whatever. So a lot of times people only see the really freak accident things that happen, which are very far and few between. Few and far between. One of those. So that becomes what they see in their mind, and they're missing. There might be. I'm making these stats up because I have no idea, but there might be one freak accident like that for every, I don't know, 50,000. Again, that's a made up stat. Who knows? But the point is, like, it's very unlikely that you're going to get hurt if you're doing it correctly. Now, if you completely disregard technique, completely disregard, recovery and some of those other things, yeah, you might hurt yourself, but all you gotta do is be smart.
Right. Yeah. And there's definitely a perception of, wow, you're going to hurt your back. I've, had said to me several times, be careful, you're going to hurt your back. And it's not like I just went, oh, well, I've never lifted weights before, so I think I'll just slap, 400 pounds on the bar and see what happens.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Progressive,
right?
So you build up to it, and you shouldn't just slap weight on the bar and go and see what happens. It's progressive. And I can say, when I first started powerlifting, I was chronically hurt from doing what I was doing before. So once I got into a rhythm with powerlifting and kind of got through the first little bit where, I was getting stronger, I've never felt better. Yeah. All of those injuries that nagged me for years and years and years, they're gone.
Yeah. And that's, as a powerlifting coach, or coaches, that's something that we do with our programming is, we look for imbalances, we look for weaknesses and things like that so we can address them. So having an overall plan, like, the only thing we do is not squat, bench, and deadlift. Like we work on all the weaknesses and imbalances too. That way we can continue to get strong and have a symmetrical, anatomy that's not going to cause issues down the road either. So, yeah. So I guess, should we say this? So that myth, we're going to say busted.
I feel like we should have a big graphic. Comes down.
I don't know how to do that. So
Too
until I
complicated.
learn, we're going to have to just go with me pointing at the camera.
All right. So the next myth is all powerlifters take steroids. I don't know, Josh, you take steroids?
No. And that's also a frustration of mine because, again, and I think some of that goes back to like what you see in magazines. You see the roided out bodybuilders on stage. First of all, people think that's powerlifting. Second of all, people think that that is what happens when you lift weights. Well, it doesn't, you don't get like that without taking some sort of enhancements. And powerlifters, you know, all of us in USA Powerlifting are drug free. Like we do not take any hormones. We don't take any steroids, stuff like that. So everything that we've got, we've worked for. And long story short, no, like most powerlifters don't take steroids. So I think, you know, again, just, it's not the thing that screams the loudest is what's heard the most. So you see the crazy, you know, crazy jacked steroided up people in the magazines, and that's just everybody's perception of what being elite at any level looks like. And that's not true.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's one that's not even on our list, but I'm going to interject anyway, just to see what you have to say. Ha ha. Shouldn't squat below parallel. It's bad for your knees.
All right. I have a lot to say on that. So anything's bad on your knees if you're creating like weird angled torque and things. And squatting, if done correctly, is not one of those things. But squatting high, if you ever take a physics class, like doing a half squat actually can create more shear force on your knees than squatting deep, because the kneecap wants to essentially, the femur wants to essentially slide forward off of your shin bone, and that creates a lot of torque and stress on your knees. So that alone is it blows my mind that people think that, but they do. And that's all I have to say about that. That's wrong.
That's all I have to say about that, like Forrest Gump. Yeah, it is. It's not right. Well, and I would kind of caveat it with some people probably can't squat below parallel. If you've had your quad tendon torn off your knee, or you have some kind of really bad ankle issue, these are things I'm pretty familiar with because of my husband. There are some people that really anatomically, for whatever reason, also might have difficulty squatting below parallel, and going to put themselves in a bad position if they can't. If they do it, don't force it.
And that's that. But, I mean, those are the exceptions, not the rules.
The exceptions, exactly.
Yeah, there's definitely situations like that out there, of course. But
right. And you can also squat too deep. Once you squat too deep, you lose every single bit of leverage.
Yeah.
And if you're hyper flexible and you squat too deep, you can't get tight, you can't get up. So that has its own ball of wax.
Some people, some lifters have the joke that if they get 3 white lights and their coach tells them they squatted too deep. I disagree with that, but meaning they're trying to get 2 to 1, like they're trying to be borderline. I think that was more of a joke. I wasn't actually serious with that. Okay. Actually, maybe they were serious. I don't know, but I did that once. All right. What's our next question?
Right one. It's too late to get started.
Yeah, it's never too late. We don't really need to spend a lot of time on that one, because we already talked about the 80-year-old. There is I believe in Florida, there's a 93-year-old lady that competes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There was a guy actually from Georgia that did bench press nationals in Atlanta when I held it. I want to say he was either 93 or 96 at the time. I can't remember. And his goal was to do a meet when he was 100. So
that's awesome.
So I don't really buy into that it's never too late.
Yeah, it's never too late. So yeah, my take would be that you're put on earth to do things and not sit on the couch, and, see what you can do, have fun with it, and don't take yourself that seriously. Like, never too late, like you said.
Yeah. One other topic I want to, kind of talk about is meet day anxiety. A lot of people get this. They do these really, really great numbers in training in the gym, and then they get to the meet, and for whatever reason, their numbers are way off. And, they don't know why. And a lot of times I think that is from anxiety, because when you're training at a gym, you're kind of in your own little habitat. You're playing your own music. You have your friends around. You're staring at whatever you normally stare at in your squat rack, but then you get to a meet and you have people out in front of you. There's referees staring you in the face, other lifters that you have to try to get your warm-ups in and work around and work in with and things like that. And some people just don't plan for that. So I figured we'd talk about that a little bit, and just kind of some of the things that, obviously you can't control every situation, but there are a lot of things you can control that can help limit that anxiety. So I guess for me, one thing that works well for me, and people already are probably making fun of my music selections based on this podcast, but like when I'm warming up and even when I'm going to weigh-ins and stuff, I'm usually listening to like, I don't know, real old slow country music or Celine Dion or something that's just like super, super calming and quiet. Because
Celine Dion.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. But yeah, I do, because it's something that can kind of get me away from what's actually happening and let me just kind of calm down and keep my heart rate down. Because what people don't realize is a meet can be a long day. So if you're on a high state of readiness all day, like your adrenaline's going all day, like that's going to wear you out. And by the time you get to deadlift, you're going to be shot. So, for me, that's what helps is, as soon as I get to the venue, I'm trying to bring my adrenaline down and trying to make everything just slow down. And then, even warm-ups and opening attempt squat, like if you need your jacked up, hype up music for your opener, then you probably open too heavy. So, for me, it's stay calm and, basically have somebody kind of wake me up when it's time to go do my opening squat if I fall asleep.
In a hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops. I don't know what episode it was that we talked about that, but some listeners will have to go back.
Yep.
So I would add to that and say, the thing I love the most about lifting is that it makes you present. It makes you come right into the present moment, whether you're training, whether you're on the platform, competing, wherever you are. Like you can't really be thinking about, really anything while you're doing it, because you'll mess up. So you kind of have to stay in the moment to do it. And that's kind of like what I really love the most about it. And meet day is the same thing, but probably to more of an extreme. Like you really have to be present. You have to be on point. And, you can leave at any time. Like I remember there was one time I was getting all goobered up and you came up and you're like, you want to leave? And I'm like, well, no. And that kind of pulled my head out of my ass. So I stayed with it, and I think
you're free to go.
Right. You're free to go. And I was like, oh, wait, no, I'm not. I'm here. I'm doing this. And I think anytime that I've like identified way too much with the outcome, like focus on the outcome. Oh, what's going to happen? Am I going to make a PR? All that stuff. Like, don't focus on the outcome. Like you got to leave that to where the chips fall. Like you need to focus on the moment, what's going on, staying into the process and what you're doing, and just kind of be like, well, fuck it. Whatever happens, happens. And, I have literally come up to the platform and heard the announcer say what's on the bar as I stepped up and was like, oh, okay, well, fuck it. Let's try and see what happens. And, if you go in with that attitude, more often than not, you'll probably make it, because you're not, oh, am I going to make it? Am I not going to make it? Well, let's just see what happens. Let's go in and let's do it. And sometimes, like, if things don't go the way you want or you expect them to go, just like you can't spend any time putting your head into that. You have to just like right there, move on and just stay with what's happening and what you're dealing with at the moment. Definitely calming music, or any music really, kind of for the given moment helps. Calming music like before squats, but I need something totally different at deadlifts. So you know, every type of music has its little place.
Yeah. And one thing that I think a lot of people get caught up on too is they externalize their expectations, I guess. For example, like I've had people, lifters that I coach, like if they miss a lift, like weeks later, just come and apologize, be like, I'm so sorry I let you down. And I'm like, are you serious? Like that's never even been a concern of mine. Like I'm proud of you guys for putting it on the line. And the crazy part is some of the meets where there's a photographer, like you can actually, and I'm thinking of a few examples. I'm gonna not go into specifics, tearing up a little bit, but people come to you and say like, I'm sorry I let the team down. I'm sorry I disappointed you. But then you look at the pictures, and the picture is immediately after that missed lift where 2 or 3 of your teammates are like giving you a hug. And my response to that is, look at this picture, and is this tell if you had to caption this, would this be a caption of you let everybody down, or a caption of we're so proud of you for trying, like, or fill in the blank or whatever it is. So I think a lot of people, and that's a personal example, but I think a lot of people in general do that where they're thinking that anything they aren't successful with is letting all kinds of people down. Well, I can tell you unequivocally, no, it's not letting anybody down. So get that out of your head.
Right. And I think, sometimes we tie our identity and who we think we are, our self-esteem, into the outcome and placement and stuff like that. And people get into like, oh, how much did you lift? And really, it's not really about that. It's about doing something, about trying. It's about the effort. It's not who you are. It's something that you do. And it better be fun. At the end of the day, if you're not having fun, you should do something else.
Yeah. And, in all fairness, like we are chasing titles, we are chasing records, we are chasing PRs. But if you look at any power lifter, I don't care who it is, they've all had meets where they didn't hit a PR. They've all had meets where they got beat. They've all had meets where they, didn't have the total they wanted. But the ones that we've never heard of, they had that happen and they quit. All of the legends out there that we, the big names that were like, oh, that's who I want to be like. I guarantee you they've had days like that. But they were either just too dumb or too stubborn to keep going.
Right. And I think failure, you have an opportunity in failure to get better.
Yeah.
And it's motivating.
I meant that as a joke and you didn't laugh at all.
Sorry.
So I just offended a bunch of people, I think, including you. But yeah, I do. I think it's just, it's just moving on, learning from every experience, good or bad. Like there's always something to learn. And I think people discount that as well. So, all right, let's get to it. Drum roll. The track of the week. All right. We are on episode 10, track number 10 on Josh's Power Ballads. Whitesnake, Is This Love That I'm Feeling?
How could you not have Whitesnake in there at some point?
I agree.
You just have to. It's the
See, every song on this list to me is a no-brainer, but you really, I still can't get over that Poison song that you didn't like. But
there's a story there.
I'm willing to make an exception. But Whitesnake is a great band, and it is a great power ballad. Yes. And I'm assuming everybody knows that song. That's probably a little bit of a far-fetched assumption, but
I've had someone say that we should put like a snippet of the songs into the podcast. I don't know if we could get in trouble with that.
Well, I can just sing it.
No.
So I do, if you watch it on YouTube, I do put the link to the song in the, what is it called? The description in YouTube. So you can click on it and play it and get the music video.
Which,
is
these
a
music
win-win.
videos it's pretty epic.
Yep. It's true. All right. Awesome. I think that's all I have. Do you have anything else, Lara?
I don't have anything else to add this week.
Okay, this week. So we need to have a shout out to our Instagram page because we're not getting many followers on there, and I'm going to complain about it. So follow us on Instagram, PL Ballads Podcast. If you guys have any interesting topics you want us to talk about or have any questions, you can DM us there as well, or shoot us an email at plballadspodcast@gmail.com. And that's the end of my rant. And on that note,
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
I was going to say, if anyone has any pet peeves that they'd like us to discuss, or anything that is a myth that they'd like us to bust, throw us a note. Let's talk.
Absolutely. Cool. All right, guys. Later.
Talk to you next week. Bye now.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.